Welcome, welcome, welcome. On this week's episode, we're going to be checking out some ghillie suits. So first up, can I just say that there's never been a time like this where we've had access to so many ghillie suits. It's good to see that everything's being pushed on by competition, more products, more knowledge being introduced. So overall, as consumers, we're winning. So ghillie suits this week, and in particular, it's the MIMTech. Now, if you've been following my Instagram, you've probably seen me post up quite a bit because I've been quite enthusiastic about the brand. I've met the guy, he's really nice. We got to spend quite a bit of time at IWA just chatting concealment, chatting about life, chatting about family, and it was a really good vibe. If you haven't heard of MIMTech, check out their website and their Instagram and just see the art that goes into the camouflage. It's actually just a 2D suit, i.e. there's no 3D elements on it. I've added loads of halo screen and some coconut rope. MIMTech are a true artist when it comes to camouflage. Rather than getting a suit and having to do loads and loads of work to it, MIMTech have optimized their camouflage patterns to work as best as possible in as many environments as possible. And to help cater for as many environments as possible, each suit is actually fully reversible. Meaning with a quick wardrobe change, you can totally change the look of your suit to help suit your environment. Currently, MIMTech have 4 suits available, 2 snow-based suits, 1 spring-summer and 1 autumn-winter suit. Top row here is the spring summer version, and down below you've got the autumn winter suit, and you can almost see the transformation of the seasons taking place round and round here. I've crafted mine slightly, but that's the reverse side, the same as those trousers, and these trousers are the same as that jacket on the reverse side. To have the option of multiple suits in one suit is a really nice feature. I've got my balaclava crafted here, but as soon as I start entering a brown site, I could just pop it inside out, and everything is reversible. The balaclava, the top, the pants and the book covers, all just one quick little turn and away you go. As mentioned, MIMTech aren't designed specifically for airsoft, they're designed for concealment, but the amount of effort that's gone into the 2D patterns, the thought process behind the suits, the features, but also simple stuff like whenever you're trying to get changed, there's clips instead of Velcro helping to sort with that silence, but the material is really quiet compared to other suits. This one's relatively quiet, whereas this one sounds like a Christmas tree. So it's good that even the thought process behind the materials, the reflectance management, but even from a price point of view, it's around £250 and you're getting 2 suits in one. You need very little 3D elements to correct the 2D pattern. And if you're lying down prone, just loosen that hood, throw it over your roof, and suddenly you've got a rifle wrap. So what do you get with your purchase? Well, first of all, you get this fairly compact bundle of joy, and the sack that it comes in is actually one of 2 boot covers. So slip these around your boots if you want that extra concealment factor. I'm not too sure how useful the boot coverings will be in terms of airsoft. We've all been to that stage where someone says, oh, we've seen your boots. So the boot coverings are quite good. The only thing is the bottom of them are completely sealed, which means that it won't give you much grip. So I don't know from a health and safety point of view. Obviously everything from MIMTech is designed for concealment, and it's not designed for airsoft specifically. You could probably mod them in such a way, maybe cut the bottom of them off and add an elastic strap, or possibly just even shoe glue these onto the tops of your shoes. But anyway, yeah, 2 adjustable boot covers. Next up, you get the balaclava. This one's my spring version, which has been very lightly crafted. It's a pretty simple balaclava. It's got the eye opening, but it's also got these 2 ear openings. So that's kind of good for whenever you're wearing comms, but also if you're looking to stalk people and you want really good sound, rather than hearing the rustling of all your 3D elements or your leaf suit. On the front part of the nose, you have a little bit of metal, just allowing you to mold it around your nose. What I do is I fold it right over the bridge and I pull my goggles down tight, which holds that nice and secure there in place. Next up, you get the MIMTech bottoms. Now these have been designed in such a way to make it really easy to access the reversible sides. We have the adjustable elastic waistband, and it's so well thought out that the elastic is actually done on loops, so you could just pull and that will tighten it in after you get changed. They also come with clips rather than Velcro, which is a really nice idea. So whenever you're wanting to get changed on the field, just undo the clips and that'll make the waistband pop right off really quickly, and you can turn the suit inside out. Immediately below the clips, you've got these holes. This is just to access your front pockets, just up at your hip. There is also a zip, and that will allow you access to your combat pockets if you're wearing them. You have an upside down pocket here. Now this is for the boot covers. I have seen a couple of people lose their boot covers in airsoft games. Right down at the bottom you've got this almost sportswear zip, and again, when you're wanting to get changed on site and you've got your combat boots on, it just means that it's really easy to get changed. Next up, you have the top itself, fully reversible. I'll turn it round to the brown side here. So features of this suit: obviously it's got the fully reversible camo print. You've also got the hand coverings that cover your fingers as well, and they've got the elastic just to keep them on and stop it riding the whole way up your arm. The suit has a zip just to make it slightly easier getting on and off. And for those of you who want to run this more like a combat cape and wear a plate carrier, there are these D-rings and clips which will just keep the front of the suit completely open so you can access your admin pouch or your mags or whatever. And then for ultimate concealment, just lower it back down over your plate carrier. Following on from that, we have this huge Omega hood. It's very oversized for the obvious reasons of throwing it down over your equipment, whether that be a camera or your scope or your riff itself. At the minute, it's quite hard to handle because it's so loose, but just give it a good tighten at the sides with the 2 adjusters and that'll make it a lot more manageable. Also, I like to pull it tight here and here just to stop it sitting open and developing this lovely silhouette of your head with the shadows on either side. And then that's free for you to put your hood any way you want. If you want it off to the side, that'll hide some of the symmetry. The front of the hood has these 2 fold down clips. These are just for clipping into a baseball cap or a boonie, or what I do is I actually pull them off to the side and I clip them into my airsoft goggles, and that holds the hood nice and tight. The suit is oversized, but it also comes with this lovely big long cape, and that really helps with ditching some of the leg shadowing. Just having a look at the colours at distance, this cold brown side will be really good for bare tree cover, and I would say this warm side is for the autumn, and you will start to transform from this to this here brown side. Bear in mind, this is a bare suit, no 3D elements, so hopefully with a wee bit of time, some 3D elements, you'll really be able to increase the effectiveness of the suit. But even on this ivy forest floor, the boot covers are actually doing a really good job by themselves. This is just the jacket in case someone just wants to wear the jacket. It's 1.8 pounds, and that's uncrafted. And now let's weigh my crafted version. Be interesting to see how much weight the 3D elements actually add to it. so it's jumped up to 2.3 pounds. Now the whole suit, so the book covers, the top, the bottom, and the balaclava is 3.5 pounds. So this is the A version of the reversible camo suit. We have a fairly cold brown and fairly cold greens, but the greens are still quite prominent on it. The other side has really nice contrast from the highs and lows, but also this really warm mid-tone. Okay, so we're going to do some crafting here on these balaclavas. So obviously we're in a dark forest here. It's the middle of autumn, so lovely warm tones, but there's still quite a bit of green. So I'm just picking out some halo here, and it seems to be looking like I'll use the dark and this cold. Can't remember, does it have the stickers? Mint, there we go. So this is why you need the cold greens and not just the warm vibrant greens. I've also got some twigs to maybe put on. I'll just cable tie them on randomly. We've got the snippers, we've got scissors. I've also got loads of nano screen here. I'm using colds, darks, brights, warms. I'm pretty much using everything because on the forest floor here there seems to be quite an array. The other thing is, last night there was a big downpour, so everything's looking very, very dark and saturated because of the wetness. But the good thing about the nano screen is hopefully if I add some water to it, it'll darken way down. So that's looking a lot better already. So being that it's slightly darker, I'm gonna go for the ARCS, but I'm just wondering, should I use this side, which has the greens, or should I use the warm side? I think at this stage it's 50-50 because we do have a lot of warms on the floor, which this side doesn't have, but I quite like the challenge of using this side. So I'm gonna go with this side, which upon first look probably doesn't make sense, but let's see what it's like anyway. So get our pack of cable ties, and rather than snipping off the end here, which means that if you put these back in your rucksack they'll all pour out, what I like to do is make a little hole in the center. That way I can pull the cable ties out, but they shouldn't fall out. Just looking at this color again, I'm starting to change my mind. Should we go for the warm side or should we go for the cold side? Let me know in the comments what you would choose, because at this point I'm really 50-50 on what to use. Okay, let's go with the cold side just to be slightly different. I think the obvious side to do is the warm side, but upon looking at everything around here, this may look slightly better. We can always change our mind again, but I'm gonna go with this darker, colder side, but add some warms to it. So the decision making, how many cable ties do you use, where do you put the cable ties, how close do you put the cable ties together? And the sad truth about it is it all depends. There's times the scenarios will call for maybe a lot more leaf litter just to get that broken, jagged, rough effect on your suit, and there's times where it may need very little. But the method in my madness here and now is there's a lot of the warm browns pushing into the oranges. So with the prominence of the warm oranges, I'm gonna fill the balaclava with the oranges first of all, just to make sure that I've got enough of that warm tone, but then I'll start adding the darks, and then to finish I'll probably add a few highlights of the lighter nanos and also some halo screen just to mimic the ivy. This is how these Oakmaster garlands come, already laser cut. So if you fold it over, do a cut, you can then just cut here and here, and that'll give you already a lot of big shapes. So for the nano screen, I just cut them into this rough shape. It's already laser cut like this, so I'm just literally slicing along. but sometimes I get a shape like this, and what I like to do is put a little incision in like that, so it gives the cable tie something to grip, but it pushes out a slightly different shape then. That's not looking too bad now, and you can see the nano screen that I drenched in water versus the completely dry nano screen. It just gives a slightly different tone. The MIMTech mesh is actually really stretchy, making it really easy to work with cable ties. The other thing to keep an eye on is just be mindful that whenever you're doing your cable ties, if you're doing your cable ties first, the tendency is to always thread them the same way, and that will give you always, for instance, a linear leaf. So just be mindful to vary up your cable ties as well. Obviously the mesh has holes everywhere, so it's about picking up, down, left, right. So this cable tie is running left to right, and this cable tie is running up and down, so you can see the leaves are in two different shapes. So there's loads of oranges about, so why didn't I choose the orange side of the MIMTech? Well, there was just something against me that kind of went against the grain, and it was to do with the brightness and the darkness and the contrast. This is the MIMTech Autumn sort of brighter, warmer side, and it is excellent at showing off contrast. You know, you have the lights here and you also have the darks. However, at the minute, because there's been a downpour, everything is very, very dark. So that's why I chose to use the colder, darker side. There's quite a bit of ivy about, which is obviously green, but also when you're at a distance, these lighter colours and the lighter greens will also act as a natural contrast, and outside 10 meters you probably won't even recognize that they're actually green. So that's why I used this side. I don't think it overly needs it, but I'm gonna add some halo just to show you guys. By laying it down, you can see that there's little flowers of green beside each other, but slightly spaced out. So that's the way I'm gonna do my cable ties, and rather than try and guess it, I'm gonna do a flower and then do another one and then add the cable tie just to get it kind of sitting right. I'll probably do a couple here and some down here just to add some macro shapes of green. So I've grabbed some mint halo here, and in the starter pack this is how it comes. You can see how already it reacts to the light. It's class. It sparkles up white just like those ivy leaves over here and the other ones that are being caught by the sun. But I'll just show you a quick way of how I cut it. So I take the sheet and I fold it in half, and I don't need all this size, so I'm just going to cut it, and so I have it in that sort of length. And once I have it like that, I literally just scrunch it up in my hand and start cutting strips out of it. I just scrunch this up like so, thread it through the cable tie, pull it slightly tight, and pull it tight once I've spread it out a wee bit. Also, if you have these strips, you can also cut these in half. You don't have to use the full length, and that'll save you loads of fabric. So this is the next stage. We've added some of the colder and darker halo. So this is it with the high contrast nano, which includes the darks and the warms. I haven't really added any other color of nano. I've added the halo screen. I've gone for the cool colors because, as you can see around here, all the ivy is reflecting that light blue shine. So if you look at this leaf here and this here color, they're very, very similar. So it's vital to have these colder colors in amongst the greens as well as the browns. This is quite a cool brown here, and this is exactly the conditions where I ditch my warmer greens, and also with the nano screen as well. And with that, I have to draw the video to a close. I've tried to pack in as much information. I've had the suit now for about 2-3 months maybe. Apologies that this video took so long, but I wanted to make sure that it was accurate and as beneficial to you guys as possible. I hope you enjoyed the crafting bit at the end, giving you a bit of insight onto how I do things. If you want to follow Le Covert and MIMTech, they're the two guys that I kind of get a lot of inspiration from, so make sure to do that. Let me know in the comments which suit you would have used to craft in that terrain. Maybe I got it wrong, not too sure, but it certainly turned out all right the way I did it. It takes me so long to craft the suit, it takes me ages to film, and it takes even longer to edit the videos. So if you do get value out of it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and do all those things just to help push the content a little bit further. If you would like to buy one of the MIMTech suits, my partner Evo Athena runs skirmshop.co.uk. They also have them in Skirmshop NL. And of course, reach out to MIMTech. I know he has a distributor in the US as well, I think. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy and peace.